Vincenzo's Gold Crypto Investing this noon, April the 2nd, 2025, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, gold and silver bullion news. An update that you've come to expect, trust, need, and deserve as we're changing the sphere and the narrative in the crypto sphere and on social media, insiders and influencers that we're building this. And of course, again, I'm not even on Wi-Fi. When I want to go on TradingView, it works until I put the video on. I think it's trying to sabotage me because I don't want to buy their advertising. There we go. But we're changing the narrative and changing the standards on online influencers on the social media and the mainstream influencers and insiders in media to build this on truth, trust, education, and information, most importantly, to do nothing else but to keep you informed so you're educated and can make an informed, calm, cool decision and game plan for yourself and how you want to invest. And with your finances, do not want to buy you. Don't care if you offer me a free year. But remember to subscribe to the channel. You can become members of Jabroni Killer. Of course, all this nonsense is going to pop up. So we'll do this. I just got to remember to take it off because I'm at work. $3.99 a month to support the channel. It's the cheapest way to support a channel that gives you information, education, and truth with the trust that you need that we built based on the way we conduct things around here and what we're doing around here, right? But you can see we've had the nice pump still continuing from yesterday morning. It started or overnight. What would that have been? Tuesday night and continued in the or Monday night and went through Tuesday and now continuing into Wednesday. As you can see, we're approaching the 50-day moving average at 87,700 and change right now. And that's your major area of resistance between there and just the same as when we were on this initial run late last week through the weekend before we turned to the downside, or actually we turned to the downside, I think Friday or Saturday. We were anticipating a max potential with that 87,000 to potentially 90,000, or now the 100-day moving average is slightly below that 90,000 horizontal blue line. That's still our major upper resistance. And I feel if you continue to go up, which the volume did pick up today, and you can see on the three spurts in volume, pump, and then consolidation, pump two, right there, volume bigger, pump three, volume bigger. So on each of the pumps, you can see the pumps with the volume underneath it. Each volume has increased along with each pump, and the mean of the volume has also increased. So that leads me to believe that we're probably going to want to come up here and retest this $90,000 before a major rejection comes. But I still feel fairly confident that that 90,000 or in and around, it could trickle a little bit above it, is going to ultimately be a rejection point in the price of Bitcoin, as I think we have to hit that 74,000 and change. And we have to hit it soon because it needs to be hit. And then I think eventually we're going to come down later on in the year below that, down to the neckline, kind of like what we had here. But then we're going to have a pump, right? So I'm still thinking all that's going to happen. But 90,000 that we've been talking about since about a week and a half ago when we were down in here where we thought we were trying to form a little bit of a technical slight bump before you came down to that $74,000 because you had a double wick low right in the same area, and usually it's followed by a little rally before the eventual fall down and flush down to where you were going to go to begin with before you started the nonsense and trading sideways, right? So that's what we're looking at there in the Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance is also still rising. So there's still fear in the market in the altcoins where there's still, even as Bitcoin's rising a little bit and the altcoins were rising too, and if some of them have some 15 to 30% moves from their low, people are taking that and selling and piling back into Bitcoin as they're still scared of the overall market. And that's why Bitcoin dominance is going up. The XLM is trying to have another bounce right there, just above that 25 cents. We're almost to a golden bearish cross, which we'll get to. But like Bitcoin, this price could still rally back up a little bit between the 50-day and probably not the 100-day, but it could do the 100-day. But the 50-day, it could still come back up and do something like that, and then trade for a brief time in between the 50-day and the 200, potentially going as high as the 100-day. But I would I would hedge my bet right now that that falling sharply fast 50-day would be the rejection point. But this is an area where there's a lot of traders here trying to defend this area because it's a big drop if you lose this area. So there's buyers that constantly want to buy because it, in relative terms, it's a good buying area compared to where you were, but not compared to where you're from. And if that area breaks, there's not a lot of buyers or support, and there will be a lot of limit orders get taken out, and it'll have a local capitulation and drive you to 18 cents. And that's where there's another stack of buyers and another stack of support. So we're having a fight right now at the 25 cents. And I believe the fight will be won by the bears. And we're going to have to come down to that 18 cents. And then we could have a short term, pretty explosive pump bouncing off a major support and potentially coming back all the way back up into this area, which would be a 40–50% recovery. But then eventually, I think we're coming down to the 14 cents, followed by a much bigger rally later in the year as we're theorizing there in red. So the purple is what we're currently doing. The red, still don't want to buy you. Don't care. Do not care, Jay. And Jay, it's awfully stormy out there in the great state of Michigan today. It is. We have heavy rain, thunder, had some snow, slush on the car, now changing the rain, some ice across the northern part of where I'm at here, and then severe weather potentially later on this afternoon, along with 30 to 50-mile-an-hour winds, with a current temperature of a chilly but rising 36 degrees. Jay, well, thank you. And just as it's a hectic day outside today on this April the 2nd, we got a lot of things going on in the coin sphere, but that's what we're predicting here over the coming months. And if this theorizes and plays out correctly, there are great opportunities to accumulate and there are great opportunities to swing trade some things. Or you can also sit back and enjoy the ride and just see how things play out and pick your spots for what you want to do with the accumulation and in your strategy. We're just trying to give you some trust and truthful information as I see it that can help you and assist you with data, which is information and knowledge, right? To help you make your decision. The XRP here is still in the head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. We diagnosed and sniffed this out 2 months out ahead of the mainstream influencers, insiders on the mainstream and in the social media that you see and watch on here. But we back here, we're just after that 340 high and that purple circle identified a head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern, and we drew out this pattern. And now obviously it's trading on the right shoulder longer than we drew out, but we drew that out when we were right there. So there was none of this on the screen yet. And we identified back then this as the neckline, right? And this was your last big breakout. We need something that can pop. That doesn't pop either. There we go. That formed your neckline right there. Neckline. You see that? Then we had our blow off top with the Donald Trump induced final leg to the rally here. And then we identified, all right, we got a left shoulder here. Now that's what that trading out in the breakout was in that symmetrical triangle, right? And then we drew out this pattern, identified the neckline right there at $2.09 in the purple, or we should make that a color that stands out more too, a lighter purple. There we go. That was the neckline. And then we had our major upper resistance here in red, but I don't like red. No, it's got to be a reddish. Right there in red at 255. And then we told you we were going to have a bearish cross back here where the 50-day is right there in red and the 200-day is in blue, and they were both uptrending and very far apart. We told you would have a bearish cross. Then, as I see in the rest of the market play out, right about in here, we told you we were going to have a golden bearish cross. And XRP is one of the last ones to do it, but we're very, very close to having that bearish cross. And we think it's going to happen. It could be as soon as Saturday or Sunday that we have the bearish cross, but it's going to happen within the next 7 days. And eventually that's going to lead you farther to the downside with this technical target of $1.29. But right now we're fighting for our lives to not do that. And then we're fighting on the neckline, just like we had a lot of support on the breakup on the left shoulder. We're having a lot of support to prevent a breakdown on the right shoulder, and eventually we're going to break down. And our next breakdown is coming to the 200-day right there at about $1.93, followed by maybe a slight rally like you see there in purple, and then we're coming down eventually, and we're going to make that big flush as you get a lot of traders liquidated, you get a lot of limit orders and stop orders taken out, and it capitulates on itself in a feedback scenario, and that drives you down to that technical target, followed by what could be a nice rally. But in the shorter term, we're trying to bounce off the neckline again. And like we were talking about when we were on these other couple of candle days, we need to get into a shorter time frame to see these. The 1 hour time frame. Oh no. Yeah, we do. Let's go into the 4 hourly. See how we've been bouncing off that? Again, we had a bigger bounce. Oops, we don't want to do that. We want to do that. We want to click that and get rid of that. When we were on our last bounce up right here, we were telling you the 255 was your major upper resistance, and we came up to 255, then came all the way back down. We're trying to hold a quadruple bottom now and maybe make another little run back to the upside. But this time on this move, if it continues to trade up, just like we've been talking about, I think these overhead moving averages are going to be too much. And the highest you would probably get is the 239 to 240, and then I think you're going to have to you're going to get sold off again. So that's what we're watching out for there. We'll break down more into this tonight. Peace and love. The Rockside Bro J.